Hi everyone, it's Justin here, Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the show. This is episode number 490, so we are 10 episodes from a total portfolio count of 500, and we can't do this without you, without your demand, without you watching and listening. We do have this huge goal of wanting to reach and help 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond, and we're well on our way. So thank you. Everybody's watching, listening, whether you're here in the United States or in one of the 111 countries that our show has reached thus far. If you could do us a big favor and give us a big thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, repost, that would be very helpful for us to continue on that journey of helping uh, all the people that we can, and at least have them hear stories that may help them rethink that, hey, I can do this. I don't have to sit on the sidelines. I can give it a try. Here's somebody with the mental challenges that I'm dealing with on a day-to-day basis. But we all are dealing with things, whether we want to believe it or not. That's neither here nor there. If you can also follow us on social media, that would be helpful. Our TikTok is uh, it was banned for I don't know. We had 600 followers. We're using the First Amendment. We're sharing our voice, and we have guests just like today, be sharing their voices. So somehow, some way, we got banned. Have a good idea of how that came to be. So we're in a restart mode on TikTok, but you we talk about Instagram and Facebook, mostly Instagram, that we keep everybody up to date with what's going on. We're a little bit behind on posting on social media because we're just knocking out episodes left and right. Like I said, we're now at episode 490, so we're taking things that are it, they're both important to get it on social media as well as filming the shows, but we're using the filming of the shows um, to get out to the masses faster than what social media has done for us. Social media is extra helpful for us, but when we have content to share, we kind of go in the direction of sharing that content because it's important and needs to get out there. And so, as you know, you can watch us on our YouTube channel, our Rumble channel, and as far as audio goes, anything from Spotify to Apple to Google to iHeart, we're everywhere. So thank you for that. And also, one last thing before we get started with our guest Ellen today is that if you're able to, reach out to maybe 25 contacts in your phone and let them know about Voices for Voices and the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. Voices for Voices, I founded the main foundation and main pillars are mental health, recovery, uh, just sharing voices. So I started after my mental health recovery started in 2017. But we don't care. We're more about culture and people on the human level than we are on what people see on the outside level, as far as certain demographics. Because as we know, everybody has something going on, whether we believe it or not. And one of our biggest believers, I had a pleasure of meeting just recently, and am glad that I had the opportunity to do so, is our guest Ellen. She is uh, she's she's a survivor, which she'll be speaking about. Uh, and she is also a mom of an autistic child. And just for all the people out there that feel like it's okay to poke fun at people for any reason, uh, really, but with it being Autism Awareness Month, extra emphasis on this area where people are feeling the need to poke fun at people like, oh, they have autism. Well, I have autism. I don't have it. I'm on, I guess, the lower side of the spectrum with lights and sounds and other things that are where I kind of fall on the spectrum. So uh, it's just not a good thing to do. I mean, I think as we grow up, we should be maturing. Some of us actually do mature, some of us don't. And I would just ask kindly if anybody is watching and listening and you are poking fun at somebody, whether it's autism, whether it's a speech impediment, I don't care what it is. I would just ask you to turn the channel, turn the station, because we do want to help and reach 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. But what we don't want, I don't want followers, I don't want people watching and listening. I mean, we'll take the views and the downloads, we'll take those numbers, but I don't want to have people that are uh, following and all that um, when you think that something like this is, we can poke fun at people. I don't care what your age is, if it's 18, 48, 78. We should, be treating people with respect. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican. I don't care political uh, uh, where we fall there. So a little bit of a longer intro, but we're going to get to our guest Ellen. So Ellen, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
You're welcome, sweetie.
Yeah, and it is amazing, unfortunately, that uh, survivors of just about anything tend in our society, for whatever reason, to not be not just not listened to. I think some people, as we've discussed off camera, uh, people will listen, but the amount of people who actually will actually use their authority and actually help survivors, whether that is funding, whether that is bringing people to justice that did uh, the just the awful things. And so Ellen will jump into kind of her story, her experiences with abuse, and all the way up to what we're dealing with as our viewers and our audience listeners know far too well about our the lawsuit that we are in at the point where uh, we're just moving forward one foot at a time. So, Ellen, you can take it away.
All right, honey. First of all, like he said, we all got problems. We're all dealing with something that we try to keep hidden. And that's the problem. We cannot keep hiding it. We need to let people know that stuff does happen. And it is possible that it happens. And we need to quit being ashamed of it because we did not do anything to deserve it. I was 14 and raped. I was not believed. I was more or less felt like it was my fault that I deserved what happened to me. And like you said, it's political. It's in a small town. Money got away with what happened to me. Um, and I still deal with it. I mean, I always will, I guess. Um, but it hurts when you're not believed that it can happen. And I've argued with so many people of, well, why is it now that we hear about more? We hear now that kids are missing, and back then we didn't. It's not because it didn't happen. It's because back then we didn't have electronic stuff, Facebook, news, just different outlets to find out all this stuff. We're just hearing it more now. Um, and like you said, I'm proud mother of an autistic child, and he's very smart. I'm so proud on how much he's done in his lifetime already. Um, I adopted him, but he's lost his mom and dad both more or less in different ways. Um, I try to tell him if someone says something negative, don't let it bother you. Keep fighting. Keep showing them how strong you are, how smart you are, because they are smart. They're not retarded. They're
Mhm.
not stupid. They're far from that. And it breaks my heart that people can even say stuff like that because they don't deserve it.
Mhm.
Um, I myself, I've got a speech problem. There's a lot of words I cannot say or pronounce it like it should be pronounced, and it's hard.
Mhm.
I let my childhood destroy my life. I went from being an addict. I didn't care if I lived or died. I drunk. I did drugs. I gave up on life because I felt like no one believed what happened to me. Um, and I fight it. I see a therapist, and
Mhm.
like she says, I've got PTSD bigger than crap, and we're trying different medicines to help with depression and stuff, and it's hard. You don't make fun of someone's lifestyle.
Mhm.
You don't know what someone goes through until you walk a day in their shoes. Don't judge people. Listen.
Mhm.
Help us get the word out. But help us spread of what's really going on is still going on and people are turning your backs. Don't. If it's just one more listener listening to help us show that this stuff is happening, we made a difference. And if we have to speak every day just to get one more, then we're
Mhm.
doing something right. Um, I still live in a well, kind of small town, a little bit bigger than where I grew up, and it's scary for me. There's days I can't walk outside because I feel like people are looking at me and judging me, even
Mhm.
though they don't know my past. They just know from where I've been here for 10 years.
Mhm.
Um, I try to. So This is hard. Um, I try to keep fighting for not only me but my son because I don't want him to ever give up like I did. I want him to keep growing and knowing that, hey, look, someone fought for me. I'm special, and he is special. We might not have blood going through each other, but he's still mine. And I will not stand back and let anyone talk crap about autistic because they are special, they are loved, they are needed, they are wanted, and it's hard for them to trust anybody. But once they trust with the whole heart. And I let him know, even though he's a male, rape is rape.
Hmm.
Rape can happen to female and male. And I do it because I don't want anything happen to him like it did me. Because there was 4 people that could have stopped what happened to me, and they all turned their back on me. And I live with it every day. I wish, I guess, the pain goes away somewhat, but the
Hmm.
scars are always there. And I'm sick of being quiet. I'm sick of acting like it didn't happen. I'm trying to speak up now, and it's took me 30 years to finally be able to speak up about it. And I don't want anyone else to go through what I went through and try to keep it quiet. Not that it happened, because if maybe I spoke out more in my past, he got away with murder, raping other women, and I still blame myself for that, for not speaking up, because if maybe if I spoke louder, that one woman would still been here. The other woman went and got raped. And it's sad that I'm the one that's on the guilt while he's walking around like nothing. Um, so I've learned now the older I get, I stand my grounds. I speak loud. I You cannot just stay quiet. You got to speak loud. You got to let people know this is happening. We've got to protect our children. We got to protect our friends, our family, even a stranger.
Hmm.
You don't know what someone's going through. And yeah, the world is cruel, but there's a big part of this world that wouldn't be cruel if we stood together and hold our grounds and let people know this is happening. Please help us spread the word out, because that's the only way we're going to be able to stop it.
Yeah, and I believe, as I know you do, if you have a choice to be, if you're not part of, if you don't want to be part of the solution and listen and take action on things that are by moral ethics by itself and then laws that are in place for these very things when they do occur to bring people to justice. If you're not part of, you don't want to be part of the solution and you don't want to listen or watch, then you're part of the problem. So you
Right.
have a choice. You have a choice, and uh, I got a lot of backlash from, and this was probably a year ago. One of the guests we had on, um, we were just having, we're doing our show, we're just conversing, and I brought up the fact that that I have autism, and you know less of a degree than others, but nonetheless, I do have it. And the guest asked me, well, when did you find out this? And I said, well, when I was 2017 was when I landed in the hospital voluntarily, and um, from then. And they're like, and so the guest was like, "Whoa, you should have been diagnosed so much earlier." And I was thinking, okay, maybe, but I grew up in the 80s, and there
Right.
wasn't the
They didn't have
emphasis.
the experts back then.
Yeah. I'm like, I wish I would have known. I'm sure my parents would have wished, but I don't. I am very,
And I think it's inherited. A lot of people disagree with me. You've got your
yeah.
opinion. But I think it's inherited because his dad, I swear, I think his dad had autistic.
I not even think like depression, like
Oh, yes, that's definitely, yeah,
yeah. So it made me kind of feel bad because I'm like, well, they're like, well, you need to go, basically go, your next, psychiatrist appointment. You need to go and ask them and see if they're sure. And it made me feel bad because I'm like, okay, so do I not have it? Do I? And so I mean, it was a pleasant interview other than that part, but it's that when we talk about things that we remember, like selective things for whatever reason, like whether, we talked before off camera about, whether it's a song, whether it's an event, whether it's weather, like so many things come into play and bring up experiences in the past, some good, some bad, some not good, not just kind of that they are what they are. A certain song comes on, it's like, oh my gosh, that was the one of my exes, and we were, and I'm talking like 20 years ago, like stuff like how does my mind even do that? How does the human brain do that? And I'll have to say this, just a not just about every autistic person I've met, from kids up to adults, have been, I mean, I not that I like can judge IQ or anything, uh, but I feel are some of the smartest people, some of the most able to focus on a particular task. So there might be like three or four things going on. Well, if you ask them to work on one thing, well, that's what they're going to work on. They're going to work on that one
yes,
thing. And some people might be like, well, you're ignoring me. And it's like, no,
no,
I'm actually focusing. Do you want to go into surgery and have the doctor all over the place? Or do you want that doctor to be focused in on whatever the procedure is? And that's what my first therapist out of the hospital told me. He said, you would be surprised how many doctors and attorneys and, well, we'll leave the attorneys out for our discussion, for obvious reasons. But and I said, yeah, like that makes sense. Because I was trying to explain it to people where between the depression and the ADHD and the autism and all the things I have, I got just about everything. And, I'll be working on something. And if somebody's, trying to get my attention, and I'm in the middle of working on something, I might not hear them ask me. It's not because I mean, sometimes right, that we have selective listening, but for the most part, if somebody's asking something like in another room and you're working on something and you're so zoned in, which is what the medication and what the therapy for me has helped me with, like that's the thing. It's like that's why you want those doctors to be and multiple other professions. You want them to be all zoned in. It's like if I'm going to pay money for something, just like if I take my car in to get repaired, I went in and this has been many years ago, and this is a perfect example. I took it in. My battery was dead. I got it towed. Uh, Took it into, and I'll say it because it was the actual fact. It was a Firestone dealership, not a Firestone deal. It wasn't a dealership. It was a Firestone location, and and so they said, "Oh, you need a new battery. It's whatever the price is." And I'm like, "Well, I need my car for work, so yeah, I need it." So they go and they do the work. I pay for it. I get the receipt and everything. Well, the very next day, the same light comes on. So drive in I was able to, I didn't have to get it towed the second day. So I go into the Firestone establishment and with my paperwork. And I said, they were like, oh, well, we just did our diagnostics and you need a new battery. And I said, oh, is that so? And I said, look in your system. I was just in here yesterday. You said you put the battery in there. Um, and so I went out to the glove box. I bring the paperwork in, showed that I paid, and they're like, "Oh, we're so sorry." And so I use that as an example of, okay, not that the person whatever was going on, they weren't focusing. So whatever they were dealing with that day, I mean, maybe they were going through relationship troubles. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even care. What I care
Right.
about is if I'm going to come and spend money and you're going to tell me, oh, you're good to go. And then the very next day or the very next minute. So to come back to our discussion, yeah, I want somebody who is focused and who is working on what they are. And that's frankly why we have so many episodes. I just said,
Right.
you know what? And the one thing that I can do with very little, I mean, there's software and that for editing and that, but to actually do the show, it is relatively easy to do as far as getting set up and putting the webcam on and to do that. And I'm like, just like you said at the very beginning, Ellen, you said if only one person, one new person, what the watches, listens to the show, that's one more person or one less person that would have to potentially go through something that may be on the edge. And literally, I think of the Third Eye Blind song, Jumper, like, bringing the person off the ledge that there could be, and there probably are, unfortunately, people that are like, hey, I, I've had it. Like the world doesn't need me. I don't. I can't do anything. And what we're doing, and with you being on our show, is making sure that we're at least giving people the opportunity. If they want to watch and listen, it's up to them. But we're giving as much content, as much diversity in the content, with backgrounds and being a survivor and then being an advocate. And then, as we've talked about before, also, is we're not talking just about our children, our relatives. We're talking about all children. So
Yes.
that's kind of a big thing that some people kind of overlook. They're like, well, Justin, he's talking about, his children and then that one child. And and I'm like, well, yeah, of course, we want safety, security, say healthy prosperity, whatever that means. And it doesn't have to be money. I mean, it can just be like, having a healthy relationship where, you're telling your child, good job, and showing up when there's different things going on. And and one less person that has to deal uh, that might now understand that they can reach out, and that it might be not the first person that they reach out to that makes the difference. That, like you mentioned, Alan, you have to share your voice. And I look at it like, sorry to keep bringing these analogies, but Thomas Edison and the light bulb and all that. So it took him over
Right,
10,000. Like, I have no feelings one way or another about him. But it took him over 10,000 tries to get the light bulb to work. Well, if he didn't take 10,000 tries, we potentially might not have, light bulbs and that.
right.
And so if we don't, as uh,
It
as
might take
survivors.
us more than one try to get someone to listen, but I'm not
Amen.
going to give up.
Yeah. And just think about the people that we don't know that we're touching. And I think that's probably more important. Well, they're all important, but it's I've always heard, like, oh, it's the silent people you got to watch out for. Um, I mean, all around. I mean, it's like, okay, the person's taking everything in. You might think they're not listening. You might think that they're just, yeah, like, yeah, they might be quiet. And I, I'm an introvert, and I would have thought I was an introvert till my psychiatrist told me, because I'm like, I teach classes in front of students and groups, and the things we do with our organization, and uh, and I learned that we can be to ourselves for a lot of the time, but then we can, at certain times, we can be like an extrovert, like where we're sociable. But if you take me and put me in a room with 50 people that I don't know, um, I'm gonna go probably just uh, s- I don't drink alcohol anymore, so I'm probably gonna go get sparkling water or just water or pop or soda, and I'm probably just gonna go sit at a table. Like, I'm not the person that can go into conversations like that, and people go, "That's crazy," and I said, "No, that's just my life. That's my personality." And here for so many
Right.
years, I thought I was weird. I thought I was like goofy because I'm like, well. Um, I put myself in these situations to try to like get past that, and I can't. And even to this day, if you put me in a room with even like two other people or one other person, I'm probably just gonna like I might say hi to them, but I'm not gonna sit there and strike up a conversation. But when it is something I'm passionate about, like what we're talking about and what we're doing and continuing to do, then like I think the real me is what's coming out. Whereas before, it was taking me substances, and most for me it was mostly alcohol, um, to lower my barriers to talk to somebody. And
Right.
it's like you said, Ellen, I mean, we gotta just keep talking. We need to keep sharing. We need to, just let
We got
people
to keep
know that
fighting.
they're not alone. I mean, as silly
Yep.
as that phrase sounds like, there's some people that are trying to just make money off of it and aren't actual like there's celebrities, there's people out there, and I'm not saying they don't have, mental challenges or uh, others, but it's interesting how when there's buzzwords and things are going on, that, some celebrities come out of the woodwork, and all of a sudden, because the limelight's on them, they'll come out and they'll talk about it. But they won't talk about it when it's not. It's
Right.
people like us to have to carry that torch because nobody else is on a day-to-day basis.
Yep.
Uh,
And it's sad. I mean, to be
mhm,
able to speak out about it or not should have nothing to do on money, on if we're rich or poor.
mhm,
If you've been raped, speak up. Don't let them get away with it.
mhm,
Don't let them do it again to someone else. And I've learned that the hard way.
mhm,
I thought, okay, I just got to keep my mouth shut. And it's sad. I mean, the guy that raped me, it was like mm, 5 years after he did what he did and got away with it. And
no,
like I said, I lived in a very small town at that time. It was very small.
okay,
And I seen him at the gas station.
mm,
He was with his cousin. And he looked at his cousin and said, "Ooh, I'd like to get a hold of that."
mm,
And I'm just thinking, are you kidding me? And his cousin looked at him and said, "That's the girl that accused you." "No, I didn't accuse you. I spoke facts of what you did to me. There's no accusing. It was facts.
mhm.
I even passed a polygraph test." And it
Which
hurt.
which is just crazy that you even, and we talk about it's crazy that you even had to do that first off, given the
Right.
situation, and then you did pass it. So like you really went over two humongous hurdles, and
Yes.
people still didn't really believe you, did they?
No.
Mm,
I was a poor little girl. He had the name and money. People don't realize. They think, "Oh, well, you were ugly," or "Why would
mm,
he done that to you when he could have this and that?" It's not about the sex. It's about control.
mm,
And that's where people get it mixed up. "Well, he could have this. Why would he want you?" Had nothing to do with that. It
mm,
all had to do with control. Most rapists, it's not out on what you look like or anything. It's part of control. You were weak. He could smell that you were weak, and he took control.
mm. Yeah, I mean, you kind of, not that we want to put ourselves in the mind of these individuals, uh, but it's like, what are you thinking? Not you, but like
Right.
like him. Like, what do you think? Like, how are things justified in a person like that's mind to go, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with this.
Right.
Yeah.
And when they know they can get away with it, they keep going.
Right. So there's other hopefully survivor. I mean, that's the
Right.
thing that when
And I mean, it's sad. His own brother gave me a hug one time and said, "I'm sorry. I know he did it."
mm,
And I mean, honestly, that meant a lot to me. That he knew his brother was crazy. He knew his brother could do stuff like that. And he was the one apologizing, even though it had nothing to do with him.
Mm,
And what people don't realize is it affects you bad. And it's not just, like I said, it's not, like I tell my son, it's not only women that can get raped, it's men too.
yeah.
And our kids don't have voices either. Definitely autistic kids. I will speak, I will scream, I will shout, I will do whatever I need to do to protect my little one.
Yes. And that's the part where, uh, I mean, there's different terms. Or one of our guests, she lives in Australia. That part doesn't really matter, but th- she uh, went through a lot of trauma in the workplace with having, basically being talked down and not
Right,
being taken serious. I mean, just very similar things. And she's talked about that most of society, for the reason that could be they don't want to get involved, they just walk by.
right.
Like you said, others do that's like the bystander effect, that there can be, somebody getting bad things done to them, and there be people just walking by, walking by, walking by, and nobody, sometimes maybe one person would step in, and because the others are like, well, I don't want to get involved with that. I'm going to be asked to be a witness, and so they've already
Right.
taken it out of their mind. And so we don't need, as she said, we don't need more bystanders that are walking by and pretending it didn't happen. And we need upstanders that are going to stand up like you and others, that, yeah, that aren't gonna, you're not gonna walk by a situation if something's happening to somebody. You're gonna, like you said, you're going to make your voice known. You'll do whatever you can. And I think the world, I don't think, I know the world needs more people like you that will do that and are not going to stand by. You're going to stand up,
Yep.
which is what you're doing right now, by the way. Like you, that, and that's why I'm grateful to have you on the show, is because you are standing up for a lot of people across the board, across the country, and believe it or not, across the world.
Oh, yeah. And it's sad that people are just don't. How do I put it? This generation, I mean, we grew up in a generation where we went through hell. I mean, we weren't allowed in the house till like come on the porch,
Hmm.
drink out of water hoses. We were Generation X for a reason.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, what the hell happened with the newer generation?
And that's the thing, is that you mentioned at a little bit at the outset about, electronics, and that I know for me, uh learning, the bad things that happen. It doesn't matter what neighborhood, doesn't matter if there's a gate, no gate.
Right,
It doesn't matter. Uh, but I remember when you said drinking out of the water hose, and
right.
being out in with the neighbor kids doing, like, whether it's sports or whatever. It's like, and now it's so bad where, just somebody next door, we have a small lot, just a house next door, like we got to have like, and not that it'll protect every single thing, but we just try to keep a close eye on our children. And we're talking like minutes. Like we're not talking like, hey, come back like in 2 hours or come back when it's dark.
Right.
Or I mean, it's like I gotta look out the door to make sure my child is where they said they were
Would
supposed to
be.
be.
Right. And
And to
like I
make
said, I've argued with so many people about, well, we didn't have this problem about rape and stuff when we were kids. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Only difference is now we've got TikTok, we've got Facebook, we've got so much more places to hear stuff about this. The news. I mean, it's just more outlet that's out there that's able to tell us this is going on. But it was going on when we were kids. It's just we didn't have the electronic stuff that we do now.
No. And with that, we live in a society that, I mean, and I'm guilty of this sometimes
I
with
think
the
we all are. I know where you're getting at on this one. We all are.
yeah, I mean, I'm looking at like numbers, like we've become obsessed with numbers and clicks and likes, and that's what
Yep.
these news organizations and whether you're on TikTok or like even our show, it's like I'll look, several times a day to see how many downloads, like which shows uh, have the most, and all these things, and it's like I'm constantly trying to outdo the last show or the numbers. Like,
Right.
oh well, 100 got downloaded within a week of this one. So I would like 101 of the next one. And these news organizations, the really prominent ones that have captivating audiences each and every night, it pays to talk about the negative stuff.
Right.
It's so rare to talk about people doing things that are right, that are good. And that's part of the problem. And
Yep. The
it's
electronics is kind of like a bad thing, but good thing. It's a
yeah,
50-50. And it's sad that it has to be that way.
it is certainly.
I mean, I've made this comment more than once. Our damn problem, we rely on electronics way too much.
Amen to that. I know I do. I mean, I
But we're
mean,
all guilty as at
yeah.
it. But that's why they make it where we have to see what's going on is like doctor's appointment. Reminder, do
Oh
this, do
yeah.
that on your phone. You can't just write down a piece of paper and say, okay, they know I'm coming. No,
Yeah.
you have to be on your electronics so they know.
Yeah, I mean it's like with the Super Bowl, it used to be like where that was where, and it still is, the most watched event worldwide. And so you have these huge companies, they know they're going to have the most captive audience for at least a little
Right.
bit every single year. And like the small organizations like ours and others, like I can't compete with $6
With
million
that.
dollars or
No.
$10 million for a 30-second ad, and they know that, and so they're able to push whatever messaging that they want, whatever new product or service or uh, but
This
the
is my
reliance,
message to people. If
yeah.
you're new in here and you're wondering, what are these people talking about? Think of it this way. We're trying to protect kids. Our kids are not for sale.
Mm-mm.
And rape. I mean, there's trafficking and there's straight out rape.
Yeah.
Look at it this way. You want to close your eyes and act like you didn't see it. But think of it this way. What if that was your daughter it's happening to? Are you still going to close that eye? You still going to turn your back on it?
Yeah. And unfortunately with the way the mainstream media and all the different things that are going on, the family unit is looked down upon. And so
Right,
unfortunately, there's a lot of parents. I mean, I say that loosely, because I mean, I think you shouldn't be on, you should have to have a driver. You should have to go through some classes to do something to be a parent. And because the some of these parents, and I even see just being a, a dad to a younger person, where the different friends and different people in the neighborhood, and that where certain parents allow certain things. Not that I mean, it hasn't gotten to that yet that I know of, but just because somebody uh, that their child, come, like, they come over and then they want to listen to certain music, and it's like,
right.
no, I don't want my child to listen to that music. And it's like, well, but I do, and she does, and I'm like, I know, but then I don't
All
really
right,
there.
fine, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like, don't worry about it. Like, there's this whole, you probably know, it's like this K-pop where it basically takes songs that are played on the radio, which are paid for by big labels, paying these radio stations to play the songs, and they turn them into the kids' songs. So it's the same music, the same beat. They just might modify some words with kids. And
Right,
just it was probably just a week ago, one of my child's friend came over, and I forget what they were doing. I think they were playing in a bounce house. They were doing something, and said he wanted to, and he's also a year older than my child too. So the development's a year ahead. And so he plays his songs, and then he goes, "Oh, I'm gonna play." It's that Shabuzi song, the bar song, and the words with the K-pop for the kids, they don't say I have a problem. They don't know I have a history with Jack Daniel. Whatever that line is,
right,
he goes, "Oh, I'm playing the regular song," and I'm like, "You're 8 years old, and you're playing that, and that means that you found it somehow, which
right,
your parents let that happen, whether they showed you or not. It's not that. It's the fact that they know that you're doing that." And I'm like, I do not want my child to turn out to be, I'm not going to be able to say the words here on here, but the neighborhood, fill in the blank, when they grow up, where it's
right,
like, oh, he or she, or they're the one, they're the ones that you can fill in the blanks and get the idea. And it's like, this is how it starts. It doesn't start when they're just 13, 14, 15. It starts way ahead. So these these songs, these calm parents, okay, so like I said, say it loosely, but unfortunately it's people that, I'll say, people that have kids, because not all are true parents, that I don't want to say they don't care, but again, as we've said multiple times, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And I don't
Right.
care if it's you think it's cute that this song or that. Nothing's cute to me when stuff that we've seen and we've heard about and that we're experiencing personally and that you've experienced personally. It's not cute when those things happen. Like it's just not.
No, because we live with the scars.
That's exactly right. The scars remain. Uh, the thought at that very second, future seconds might not be there, but then that's how when we were talking about like different songs and different experiences, different smells, different, being it's different parts of the house or the condo or whatever that bring back memories. And some are good, some are bad, uh and then people go, "Whoa, that was, 20 years ago or whatever." The mind doesn't forget. That was the one thing that I learned right out of hospital was stress and anxiety, the brain doesn't know the difference between good stress and bad stress. So if it's a good stress, like, oh, there's this thing that's coming up that I'm going to be part of, and I'm going to be able to do something, and it's kind of like a dream in a way. Uh, there's stress that way, but then yeah, there's also, and that's good stress of like, being a little bit nervous and anxious about it. Like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go on this TV show and all that, and I've always wanted to do it, or whatever the thing is. And then there's the things that aren't good that it's like, all right, like, should I do this or shouldn't I? And the body processes the stress the same way. So it's trauma no matter what, whether it's a good or bad. Like the brain is I don't want to say that we're new pet owners, but so we have a tiny dog, and it's like she doesn't know the difference between like she knows I'm hungry, I got to go to the bathroom, like I want to go
Right.
for a walk. She's not able to she knows like if we head out and we have to put her in her kennel that like okay, well I'm going here, like not knowing what like how long it's gonna be. Is it gonna be like 2 minutes? Is it gonna
Right.
be 2 days? I'm only gonna do it for 2 days, but is it gonna be all day? And so I think of it like that, where our brains are kind of like that. And the I don't want to say the dumbed down version, like well, you probably remember because we're around the same age. The like people would want the cliff notes of books during school, so it's like
Right.
I don't want to read the books, and so it'd be the cliff notes, and then there's these topics and say like learn how to do this for dummies or whatever, and it's supposed to help you learn how to do something. And it's like that's how our brains are. They're very I'm gonna say old school, and yet we're being treated with the electronics and the blue screens. And I'll throw this in here from being a my teaching time at the local university. The Netflix, their CEO Reed Hastings, they talk about these organizations like Coca-Cola says, well, our main competitor is Pepsi, and Pepsi says my main competitor is Coca-Cola. Well, the main competitor of Netflix is sleep. So it makes sense that they're putting product available like the blue screen and all that, like with the phones, like it's meant to make us addicted to the screen. And so for
Yes.
Netflix, it's like, oh, well, if you're sleeping, you can't be watching Netflix. And it's like if you're sleeping, you can't be, on whatever app or playing a game or all that. And I find that even the most the most interesting that Tim Cook from Apple, I guess he's resigning soon, not that that matters. He he's been the CEO after Steve Jobs, and he said he he doesn't have any kids of his own, but he has nephews and I think nieces. He said he'll never let them get on social media. And here's the person who is the person who runs one of the biggest phone manufacturers in the world
Right.
saying that. So, like, that should tell us something that, like, there's got to be a reason why. Otherwise, I mean, I would think that he would be utilizing it as much as the next person, and I think that I think that can be a little bit of an analogy from, what we've been talking about, where people will, it's do as I say, not as I do. It's like I'm gonna have this position and it's gonna be of authority and I'm gonna be able to tell people to do this and that and the other, this and the other. Um, but I'm gonna do something different because I'm above what, I'm telling you. Like it's like you're dumb, you're stupid, like I'm not. And it's like, no, that it's like, well, why you should be all the same. Like if you're working at an organization or whatever you're doing, everybody's like you said yesterday, everybody puts their pants on the same way, one leg at a time. Absolutely. We're getting close to the end of our time, unfortunately, at least for this episode. Uh, is is there lasting messages that you want to share? Do we make sure we
Same thing like I
include?
always say. If it's just one person that we got to listen to us, it's one more person. Just keep on fighting every day until we're heard.
Yeah.
You see something, say something.
Oh yeah.
Put yourself in that position. Put yourself as what that was your daughter or son. Please don't turn your back anymore. Please, we all we've got is each other. And it don't matter Democrat, Republican. It doesn't matter. We're all humans. We all put our pants on the same way. Let's help each other out. Stop hurting each other and let's start helping.
I couldn't agree more. If you're comfortable, because you are such a strong advocate, if you want to share your TikTok, so if anybody's watching and listening, has TikTok, which I imagine there's probably some people that do,
Right.
that they could get connected with you if
That's
they would
fine.
like.
Yes, I'm Autism Mama Bear 77.
Okay. Yeah, Autism Mama Bear 77. Uh, One of the strongest advocates that I've met in a very long time. There are others, but it's been it, it's all hard, and like you said, you just have to have that belief in yourself that if there's one less person that has to go through this, or maybe somebody sees something, sees some signs in a friend or a sister or a brother, or maybe they can reach in and help out to get them help and get them away from a situation. To uh, it's so imperative that we do it. We only got I mean, I'm a believer, but we only got one shot in this life. I mean, so if again, if we're not going to be part of the solution, then we're part of the problem. And I know that might rub some people the wrong way. But like I said, there's a lot of options, a lot of podcasts out there. So I would just kindly ask that you turn us off and turn a different show on that has more of your belief structure because uh, that's just it's just common sense. And uh, but I guess it's not as common as we thought it used to be. Uh, so Ellen, thank you so much.
Oh,
For
anytime, babe.
I mean it's it's disheartening, yet it's refreshing to have your perspective, uh, because so many people think they're above everything, and like I don't have to deal with this. I'm a somebody, and well, we're all a somebody, and we all should get the same protections and as we talked about last night, or I did, I mean,
Yep.
we have freedom of speech, so we're allowed to share our experiences. So what you have shared and what you continue to share is facts as best as you remember. So you have that right to share that. And the same thing with us and our show and the things that we're doing with mythical creatures and David and others. You might not like what we're talking about. That's okay. I make choices. If I don't like what somebody's saying, I just turn it off. Like it's never been that's probably one of the greatest parts about technology is we can press that off button and the TV turns off. I can shut my laptop, I can turn my ringer off and put my phone in another room until I want to look at it, or I can just find a different show. And so we don't want bystanders, we want upstanders like
That's right.
Ellen, and we want to again thank her for being on the show, being an advocate, and look out, reach out, connect with her on TikTok.
Yes.
They're very
I'm going to
authentic.
have to let you go. I've got a very important phone call coming in,
Yes.
babe.
Yep. Nope. We're good. So
All right.
thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode of the show. Bye bye for now.
Bye.